Hey everyone, I'm Coach Chippys and I've been a professional top laner or head coach for the past 8 years. During this time I've reached Worlds and MSI multiple times. Now I'm a full-time coach with a ton of passion towards helping players unlock their potential and climb to their dream rank. How's it going, guys? Today we're going to be covering something a little bit different, where I'm going to be doing an in-game analysis on how BDS Adam, a player from Europe, managed to make Garen work at the World Championships, where historically Garen has been a champion that a lot of people see as a low elo champion, or a champion for beginners even, but Adam managed to have very strong performances on this champion and use it to knock out a North American team from the tournament. So I'm going to be doing a in-game analysis and showcasing for you how exactly he did that. Now, I'm mainly going to be covering Game 3, because this is the game where Adam played extremely well throughout the entire game. And in terms of Adam's setup, he actually did something a little bit different than normal, where normally on Garen you would be taking Ghost and Flash together, and you'd be running Gathering Storm. Because the way Garen plays, normally, is that you lose most of your matchups, of course, but you scale very, very well, especially once you hit Stride Breaker. That's when you really start to be able to win your lane. However, Adam, he ran Ignite and he took Water Walking. Now, he took Water Walking, of course, because Adam is a very high roam style player where he ganks mid very often, so of course that's going to help him get back and forth between the lanes. Now, the reason he took Ignite instead of Ghost, even though I was surprised at first, is because his team put a ton of resources into him. Where in this competitive game, of course, you can be making plans with your jungler. And in this particular game, Adam has an Ezreal Rakan bot, which is extremely good at weak side and pretty hard to put resources into. They don't really have much gank set up until Rakan's level 6, unless he hits a W somehow. And in general, they're just going to be farming and playing to scale, where Adam, he's going to be doing the same thing normally on Garen, but you still need to be giving your jungler options in competitive. So Adam, because he ran Ignite, has a lot more power early game, where it makes it a lot easier for his jungler to play around him. Now, the way BDS played around the Garen early game made me extremely impressed with Shio, where he would have been told by Adam that I don't get prio versus Jax early game, he's going to look to punish me, because Garen is a counter to Jax. However, Jax can hard win the level 1, 2, and 3, so Jax really needs to be looking to punish Garen on that window. But keeping that in mind, since Shio knows that, he's played with Adam's Garen many times, he actually creates a split map and he tries to do it unseen, where he flashes this wall level 1 because he wants to avoid a very popular ward in pro play, the Raptors ward, and he wants to create a split map unseen. And a split map is essentially where they split the map from top to bot, where normally, if Jax sees that it's happening, he'll just respect, let the wave come into him, and Shio will have to eat the top camps and then his own top camps, and Ivan will have to do the same for bot. So the map is split top to bot, where Jax will have to respect on red side, and then the blue side bot lane will have to respect. However, Shio does it unseen by flashing over the wall, and Licorice has no idea what's going on. So he's just playing his lane like he normally would. He's not afraid to use his cooldowns, he's not afraid to try chunk out this weak early game champion like Garen, because he knows normally Sejuani cannot be here until he's eaten 3 or 4 camps. So on that timer, he'll probably look to get a ward or play around that gank timer in general. But here, Shio, he flashed over the wall, creates a split map unseen, and then he runs straight top to punish that timer where Jax wants to be punishing Garen. And Shio actually did something you don't often see, where he took Hex Flash on Sejuani just for this gank as well. He knows he's going to be flashing level 1. He had that game plan before he even picked his runes, and now he's able to execute onto it with the extra distance of Hex Flash, and they're able to secure first blood for Garen. Where normally, Garen is just such a good scaling champion, but it's very hard to get an early game advantage on him. But Sejuani, Shio, was able to do that by having a very, very good game plan around playing around this Garen. So now from this point in the lane, even though it looks pretty even, what Shio has done for Adam has actually helped them a lot. Because normally in this matchup, Jax can control the wave completely levels 1 to 4, where he can either proxy after clearing the 4th wave between the towers spacing, or he could even just cheat a recall after the 3rd wave and gain an item advantage. He could come back with a longsword or even a deep blade if he wanted to be greedy, and look to punish Adam as the wave is bouncing back. But because they were able to shut him down on that timer, he was unable to gain himself an item advantage, so now they're on pretty even footing. Especially because Licorice took grass, where you should be running lethal tempo in this matchup, in my opinion. It's really hard for him to look to solo kill this Garen. However, the wave is still bouncing back towards him, he can look to punish with a gank. And Shio, knowing this, actually I'll give the props to Adam, he definitely would have communicated this. He would have communicated, I need to get this wave in, get my tier 2 boots, can you protect me? So now Shio, he is not looking for a gank at all. This is ungankable. As you can see, he can jump away, he's going to block all the autos. There's no way this is a gank. He's essentially playing as a human ward / goalkeeper for his Garen, because his Garen is an extremely good scaling champion, so if he can secure the scaling for free and not let him get punished, then it's going to be just as impactful as maybe ganking another champion, as maybe ganking and getting a kill for Renekton. Keeping this Garen in the game, keeping him scaling ahead of the curve is going to be just as important as ganking, so him knowing that, probably earlier was communicated to him, he plays to not allow the Ivan to punish Garen on the timer where he should be punishing him. So now from this point, a side benefit that Adam is going to gain from being allowed to base there is he was actually able to base before this Jax, which means he is up in tempo. He is on the map pressuring before this Jax, which means the first thing Jax has to do is answer his wave, right? He has to come back onto the map and answer the wave Garen has pushed in. So Adam, knowing that, he pushes it as fast as he can to keep Jax stuck under the tower, and he starts proxying between the towers. And this is one of the most pressuring things you can do as a top laner in general, but it's very good if you can do it on Garen, because the champion just has such high movement speed, and he's such a good ability to clear camps. Like you're seeing here, he could eat Krugs, he could eat Raptors, and he's going to make it back to his wave without losing anything. So now he is using his strength to not just be ahead of this Jax, he's using it to shut down the Ivern as well. And also while he's proxying, he's pressuring the mid laner. The Azir has to respect, Garen can flank me from behind if I look to trade. If I waste my gap closer, I'm going to get flanked by this Garen every time I don't see him. So he's essentially pressuring jungle, top, and mid at the same time by just realizing that he's up in tempo and he's strong enough that he's able to proxy between the towers and no one can really kill him. Worst case scenario, if he gets ganked, if Jax chases him between the towers with Ivern, then he is just going to flash away, right, and waste the jungler's time, which is also a very valuable part about top lane, wasting the enemy jungler's time. So he is fine to get ganked there while proxying, and in return, if he doesn't get ganked, he's going to be pressuring essentially the entire top side of the map. So now from this point in the game, Adam should be using his strength to try secure Herald for his team. Unfortunately, this game doesn't quite work out. He was quite late to the play because he went for a solo kill in his lane where the Jax lived on 1 HP. We can't really fault him for that, it was extremely close, but in return the enemy team gets Herald where they shouldn't, but it actually doesn't end up being bad, because they still contested the Herald and they chunked the enemy jungle mid to 1 HP, where they both had to base. So now there's a huge timer where Adam's teammates, jungle and mid, they have a timer where they can pressure because the enemy jungle mid have to base, come back onto the map, and they can't really counter any play right now. So keeping that in mind, Shio heads straight to top, and he's able to try punish the Garen for essentially his jungle and mid being off the map, and they're not scared of being counter ganked. And Rakan was actually able to come as well, because Leona used a huge timer to get to Herald as well. So essentially, the entire team of BDS, they got given a huge timer from the enemy taking Herald, and they're able to use it. Where Licorice should have been very respectful on this timer, but instead he went for an all-in, and now Adam is able to break 3 plays, get the wave, and he's just really going to start to snowball out of control. So now, coming back onto the map with Stridebreaker, Garen has 2 options in mind. He can either look to proxy and eat the enemy jungle's camps, look to pressure mid like he was doing before, or he could look to break the tower. And in this case, I would prefer if he breaks the tower, and that's exactly what he does. And the reason that's better is because on a side laning champion like Garen, especially when you win the side like he does in this game, if you can break the tier 1 towers as fast as possible and create the long lane, you're going to give yourself so much more time to impact the map. So once this tower is gone, now he has the option. He can push the wave all the way to the tier 2, keep Garen stuck here, and then invade the jungle, eat the camps if he wants to, and then if he ever makes a play, if he ever ganks mid, if he ever runs to dragon, then by the time he finishes the play it bases and runs straight top, especially on a champion as fast as Garen, he's not really going to lose anything, because Jax has to clear this wave, he has to clear the next wave, and it's going to take him a long time to be pressuring this tower, and during that time Garen can of course impact the map. Where here, he breaks the tower, clears the wave, and he bases straight away. Of course he wants to spend the gold he has, and now he's really going to look to start to pressure the map with his lead. So now from this point in the game, Adam's heading straight to side. He knows he is the strongest side laning champion in this entire game, which means he has a ton of options ahead of him. He's going to look to either play aggressive on whoever shows against him, and if they're playing respectful, he's going to look to keep them stuck under this tower and create a numbers advantage for his team. And then if they play aggressive, he's going to play aggressive on them, and he's going to essentially be pulling people to his lane. Where here, the Azir plays aggressive and he gets completely one-shot, but even though he got the kill, which is of course good, even if he didn't get that kill, even if Azir buffered the ulti instantly, what Adam did is extremely good. He's playing extremely aggressive in this timer and making people react to him, where if you notice, the Jax TP'd in response to Adam's aggression, and now he's created a numbers advantage for his team. Or even if Jax had a bit more discipline and didn't TP, if he's playing that aggressive Ivan might come eventually, the support might roam, he's creating a numbers advantage, which is his main goal as a strong side laning champion, because he's not playing Malphite, he's not playing Ornn, he can't really just go and hard engage on the enemy team with his strength. He has to use macro more. He has to use the side lane power that he has to make people react to him and create numbers advantage for his team. Where now, because he played aggressive and the kill was good, but even if he didn't get the kill, pulling the Jax to bot was the most important thing that he did, because his team was able to secure the top tier 2 with the numbers advantage that he gave them, and now he's snowballing not just himself, but he's snowballing his entire team as well. Now for the next sequence, I was a little confused at first, but I realized what Adam's doing is extremely good. Where of course he originally ran mid because it looked like a fight was breaking out, but now he's staying mid, where I thought he should have been using the side. However, what he's doing is so good because top lane is not an urgent wave. So an urgent wave is basically a wave that you need to answer, a wave that's hitting on the tower, because they can, you're either losing CS and XP, or they can use that wave to break the tower. But top wave is not urgent. Top wave is just neutral, there's no one on it. He has no rush to get there, and of course he took water walking, celerity, he's Garen, he's just so fast, he can get there if he needs to. But now he knows he can send the Ori to side if he wants, or he can go side, it doesn't really matter. He is creating the most pressuring play, because the most pressuring play is of course playing two lanes, where you have one person catching mid, one person catching bot, so they have two waves to react to, and then you have a three-man kill squad that can run it and take over their jungle, which means you can completely control one side of the map. Which is what they're doing. If any of the red team runs into this jungle, they're of course going to get killed by Rakan Garen combo, and he's just eating all the camps that he can. And now he's pressuring Garen as well, chasing him away and allowing his Orianna to break this tower. Where if he were to have just gone top, he would have had to push 2 or 3 waves and then rotate mid, and it would have taken a lot longer for him to apply this level of pressure that he did, where he didn't actually need to go top. Because even though he wasn't using top lane to pressure them, there was no pressure on the blue team at all. He didn't have to answer it, there's no urgent wave, so he's got a lot of free time to pressure the map in a different way. Now for this next scenario, this is something I want you guys to learn from, but you can't apply it in your own solo queue games. So what you need to be doing if you are playing Garen from this point in solo queue, is you want to go to the wave opposite of the main objective. So in this game, the main objective is Baron, it's spawning in 40 seconds, so you would want to be going bot, because you want people to answer, you want to pull 2 or 3 people to you, so your team can secure Baron or play around Baron freely. Now, in this game, Adam actually goes top, but because he's playing a competitive game, he knows his mid lane is good, he's in voice comms with him, this is actually not too bad. Where if the enemy team tried to force a Baron situation, or tried to force Baron vision, they can fight it with the Ori TP, but in this scenario, Ori knows he's stronger than Jax, so he's actually fine to be bot, because he beats him 1v1, which means he gets pressure against him, but the reason I recommend not doing this in solo queue, even if you don't have TP and your mid laner does, if they're playing a champ like Ori, is because your mid laner is not as good as this guy, you're not in voice comms, you can't coordinate this, he's probably just going to get ganked and die. You're probably going to be versing a Jax or a Kayn or a Renekton, very strong solo queue champions, and they're just going to farm your Ori, farm your Syndra, whatever control mage you have. If you send them to the weak side of the map, the side opposite the main objective, they are probably just going to get caught and die. They're not as good as this guy, so I recommend if you're playing Garen in solo queue to go opposite side. But in this case, BDS, a very good team. Adam knows he can go top and they can play around Baron, and Orianna's going to beat Jax anyway and TP into the Baron fight if he has to. Now for me, this was my favorite sequence throughout Adam's entire Garen game, and it really showed me that he understood his champion quite well. And not just his champion, but the mindset of a top laner in general, because here, he knows top wave is not an urgent wave, he doesn't want to go here and push all the way here. He would rather allow his Orianna some freedom, where normally the macro would be played Orianna top, Garen bot, but Garen create numbers advantage and come to the Baron. However, in this case, he knows Orianna has just been playing aggressive in bot lane, he killed the Jax 1v1, and if you're playing Jax in this case, especially when you're losing, you are just telling your team, we need to be punishing this immobile Orianna. She's the freest kill ever, and if you see alternate to God Vision, Jax is lying in wait, looking to punish this Orianna. Where if Garen walks up to this wave, Jax is not going to fight him, Jax is going to base and run away with his tail between his legs. But he knows Orianna, very immobile champion, very easy to kill, so that's what he's playing for. But Adam knows that as well. Adam knows the mind of a top laner that is very easy to punish these champions, so he's essentially forming a kill squad with his team, where if anyone walked into the jungle, he would of course kill them as well. And here, in my opinion, the Sejuani should be here as well, but he's making a kill squad with Rakan, where now that they're playing aggressive, trying to kill his teammate, he is already here ahead of the play. He predicted that they were going to be playing aggressive either in the bot jungle or the bot lane, basically trying to punish the Ori, and he was there ahead of time. Where him using this wave doesn't really do anything, it's already slow pushing towards them to be honest, regardless, but for the most part, he knows forming a kill squad and playing between two lanes is the most pressuring play he can do, and from that play, he was able to not just kill the Jax, but he was able to secure Baron from his team as the result of his macro. So now from this point, BDS just wants to be playing 2 lanes with Baron, because if you ever play 3 lanes with Baron, you're just spreading yourself too thin, and it's very easy for the enemy team to group as 5 and punish the 1 guy on the side or the 3 people mid. So here they're just creating 2 waves, 1 mid and 1 bot of pressure, and they use that to secure the bot jungle and the 4th dragon as well. So now Adam's goal is just to make people react to him, and if no one does, he's going to beat down the tower, and he's just making them react to him with his strength, of course, and the Baron wave, and his team are the ones that are going to be looking to break the tower with their 4-man unit. And now he notices a fight breaking out, so he rotates between them, which is another reason why 2 waves are so important, and one of them has to be mid, because if anyone was top there, and a fight breaks out bot, they can't really be a part of the play. Even if they have TP, the time it takes for them to TP in, the fight is going to be over regardless. So here, I really like how they use their Baron. They play 2 waves. They use it to secure Dragon Soul first, which slowed them down a bit, but they're still able to do some damage to the enemy structures. Now for this final sequence, he's already caught them off guard with his creative macro play, so now he's just doing the standard macro where he's going bot, the side opposite the main objective, the side opposite Baron, and he's trying to create a numbers advantage for his team. So if he was top, of course here, Orianna would probably be a free kill, so it's better for him to be bot, and they've already made that play where they counter gank for the Ori, they're probably not going to be able to pull it off twice. And here what he's doing is just so good, he's made Leona react to him, he's made Azir react to him, he's playing aggressive enough to make them run at him, but he's not playing too aggressive that he's essentially a free kill. And now that they've answered him, he is just looking to keep this Jack stuck here, and then once Baron gets closer to spawning, he's going to rotate to it and start the fight off a 5v4, or even just use his strength as a 5v4 threat to control the top jungle. Where here, that's what he's doing. He ganks mid because they play slightly too aggressive when Jax was stuck bot, and now he's just looking to use his power to control the top jungle completely, because especially in competitive, having full control of the area you want to be fighting in is just so overpowered, because every time they walk in, they're scared of getting engaged on, they have to check each bush one at a time, and during that time they're doing that, you're going to be looking to secure Baron like they did. So now coming back onto the map with Baron, they're going to be looking to close out this game with a 2-lane push, and he notices Jax is playing a bit too aggressive, so he's going to be looking to punish him. Where here, he's respecting the enemy team on this timer, but he sees Jax is just playing way too aggressive when he just gets completely destroyed 1v1, gets completely one-shot, and now it's going to be very easy for BDS to close out this game. Where in this scenario, they're playing 3 lanes, which is pretty rare. I don't recommend it with Baron unless someone is already dead on the enemy team, which this is the case. They've killed the Jax, which means now it's easy for them to play 3 lanes, because there's not really a 5-man kill squad running around anymore, is there? There's only 4, and now he's able to use that pressure that he got from the kill to close out this game quite cleanly. Now before we wrap it up, I wanted to cover one last thing, because in game 3 Adam hard carried through his use of macro, but in game 2 here, he actually carries through his really good sense of team fighting, where this is something I see a lot of top laners make the mistake of doing, where he's in a very good flank position. He knows his champion doesn't want to tank Baron, he doesn't want to do damage to it, his champ doesn't do that much damage to Baron, he instead wants to be flanking or attacking the enemy team from the side. So here he hides from the side, and he knows they have to walk into this Baron, or his team is just going to get it for free, and he knows he wants to be looking to flank these guys, but he doesn't want to be doing it in a stupid way. Where I would see a lot of top laners, especially they see the Tillia ult, they see the Maokai ult coming out, they would be so tempted to just run in here and queue onto someone and try to force this flank engage, but his team's all on Baron. They're cut off, they can't really follow him up, so it's much more pressuring for him to do what he did, and that is hold his spells and play the staring contest. Where I don't see a lot of top laners pull this off, but he does it so well, where he's just staring at them, and he is making them make the choice. His team is doing Baron, which is pressuring them to make a choice, and he is threatening the flank, which is also pressuring them, so they have to decide. And I guarantee they are having a ton of miscoms in their chat right now, the blue team, because a lot of them will be asking to turn on this Garen, a lot of them will be fighting them off the Baron, but he is just not giving them the choice. Where if he engaged onto them here, even if he killed one guy, he is essentially making that so they don't have to choose. They could just turn onto him and kill him if he engaged, even if he traded 1-for-1. It is not as pressuring as what he did. Where here, the Tillia was turning on him, the Kalista was turning on him, and the rest of his team is trying to fight Baron. It's just such a messy situation for them, and here it actually would have been better if he got his Phage Rush popped, which I don't think he got a Stride Breaker off, but he's still being extremely pressuring in this fight. And now they're looking to fight the end of the Baron, they feel pressured to finish it, even though the red team has already gotten Baron, and now because he held his spells the whole time, he's got them for the right time. Where the Kalista plays too aggressive, he was able to punish it, and then he's able to clean up the end of this fight and carry the game. Where before this point, he was just 2-2 on Garen. He actually lost his lane, he got solo killed, they got 1v2. He was not extremely strong, he wasn't ahead of the curve, but he was just so good at team fighting, he understood his champion's role in this fight so well, he was able to, in my opinion, solo carry this team fight purely through understanding that he wants to be flanking, but he doesn't want to be fully committing until the right time. Okay guys, I'm going to wrap up there, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the World Tournament. Hopefully we can see some more cool champions like Garen pulled out, and if there's any champion you want to see me cover next that you see at Worlds, feel free to let me know in the comments below. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time.